Perfect. So today I really wanted to talk about goals and really wanted to share some of my philosophy on goal setting, talk about the two types of goals you need, I think, and really how to use them. And something I was really thinking about last night, something, really it's looking at what are the things in your control, what are the things not in your control, and how, of the things in your control, some techniques to better control them. In a little bit, I just sort of want to do sort of just an introduction on my philosophy on goals. But then I really want to get into, how do you put it? Really get into sort of the mindset stuff, how you can actually like mentally prep yourself to sit down and get into writing. um, and I mean really like sit down and feel good about your writing, enter that flow state, get the words coming out, and the real work, the actual more challenging stuff about the internal work, the mental work, that is the actual hard part, I think, of building an author career, of writing books and publishing them and selling them. Um, so to start, the two types of goals that I really think about is I think about the big dream goals. I think about, that vision you have of being the best-selling author, of writing, being the next George Martin, being the next Suzanne Collins. Those are the big dreams. Those are the things that I would say most people aspire to. And for some of us, that's like we can be very open about it. We're very connected with these goals. For some of us, it can be a challenge too to admit these types of goals to ourselves. It can be a challenge to say, I think maybe I actually could write a book, write a series that becomes as popular as Game of Thrones, as Hunger Games, as insert your favorite series here. And so I really am a proponent for having this big dream goal and accepting it as something that is realistic, something that's possible for you, something that you absolutely can achieve. And we'll talk a little bit more about, things that we can control and things that we can't, because we can never control how people respond to our book. We can never control whether people like the book or not, whether Hollywood calls and wants to make it into a TV show or a movie. We can never control that, but there are a lot of things that we can control as far as whether we're taking the steps towards that goal. So part of the big dream goal is really allowing yourself to want it, allowing yourself to accept that it is possible, and allowing yourself then to take the steps that you need to take that are within your control, in order to move yourself in that direction. And having that big dream goal is really more of a, it's the carrot you dangle in front of you. It's the motivation. It's the big reward that you promise yourself. Even though it is a little bit out of your control, you still want to be showing up and allow yourself to have the mindset that, yep, this is where I'm going. This is what's going to happen to me. And I fully believe that if you have the vision, I mean, you have a vision for a reason. You're not, your brain doesn't come up with these things that are unachievable for you. So if you have the vision, it is something that's possible, and then it really just comes down to taking the steps or not taking the steps. So the first type of goal is that big dream. It's, whatever your like wildest fantasy of author stardom is, that's such an important goal to have. That's such an important goal to hang on to, such an important goal to remind yourself of and allow yourself to believe is possible. 100%. We also have smaller goals, and there's everyone knows sort of what a SMART goal is, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time oriented. And in my there's a free author planning guide that you can download. I coined the term SMAWOC goal, and you probably know by now that I like being a little bit contrary, a little bit weird. And what it is it's specific, of course, measurable, yep, you're going to test, did you get there or not? Achievable, yes. I mean, it's unlikely that I would set a goal to fly to Jupiter and live there forever. And then within our control. And so these are smaller goals. These are going to be more like bite-sized goals that we set of things that we can do, things that we can control whether we show up for or not. So for example, if my big dream goal is to be, top 5 author, what are the small goals? What are the things that I need to be doing in order to get there? And we can really just break it down. And I'll tell you right now, I mean, the secret to being, making money as an author is write books, write good books, write a lot of books, and then learn all of your marketing stuff too. And those are all very doable things. Those are all things that we can learn, things that we can show up for and do. And so some of the smaller goals that we might set is just simply, write a book, and then we can break it down and say, well, write 500 word chunks. Your chunk is, are you going to show up every day and write 500 words, or 3 days a week and write 500 words? We can break any big goal into the little tiny goals that we can achieve on a regular basis. And the biggest thing is really, is it within our control? And again, you don't have control about how people are going to respond to your book. You don't respond to your book. You don't have control over the opportunities that might open up after the book goes out. But you have a lot of control over if you show up or not, and how you show up. And the next level of this, and really what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, is looking at what are the things that are actually within my control versus the things that are not within my control. And this last year for me, I've hinted at it, but I have had a lot of challenges in the last year. I have had, chronic pain, chronic health issues, chronic mental health issues for a year and a half. And it's been a big challenge to keep showing up. And what it's really done for me, though, is it's really allowed me to dig deep into this idea of the things that we can control and the things that we can't control. And I believe we can control 3 things in general, in life, altogether. We can control the actions that we take, we can control the thoughts that we have, and we can control our beliefs. And some of you are going to say, how do I control my thoughts? How do I control the things that I feel? How do I control my beliefs? And that's also something that has been a constant lesson in my life of how to better control these things. Because of course, if your brain is anything like mine, it's just going to pop up random stuff all the time. And you're also going to, we always talk about, in writing and the hero's journey, we talk about the beliefs that they have and how they need to go through some sort of belief change. And we often aren't aware of the beliefs that we have that hold us back. That said, you can still show up in a way that you are checking in with your beliefs, and you can adjust your beliefs. You can rewrite your beliefs the same as the main character does in order to overcome a story problem. You too can readjust your beliefs or rewrite your beliefs in order to overcome your story problem, whatever it is, that goal that you're working towards. And so let me just be really let me be really specific. Let me overshare a personal example, which is that yesterday, I got up at my normal time to write, but I wasn't feeling it. And of course, my goal that I have within, that is within my control, my SMAWOC goal, is show up at usually around 6 a.m. and write or work on write or edit until noonish or so, and then there's always going to be a little bit of a break to take the kids wherever they need to go, but that's the thing within my control. And then I also have the goal of the word count, and that can vary a little bit day to day depending if I am going to be doing some editing or not. But those are the types of goals that I personally set. Very easy to control, which means they're very easy to achieve. Do I show up? Do I not show up? And so, of course, I know this, and yesterday wasn't really feeling it, but still showed up. And the truth is, it was very my brain was just all over the place. My brain was here and there. It was recalling some some feedback I'd gotten from a new beta reader that I was really kind of mulling over. Do I listen? Do I not listen? um, and and just created this environment that was very much just made it very difficult to write, made it very difficult to get words on the page, and just felt like pushing through some sort of fog, some sort of brain fog, because there's so many thoughts and emotions and feelings and ultimately beliefs that are coming out and are basically like blocking the way for the writing to happen. And I suspect some of you will know what I'm talking about, and some of you may kind of go, what? And that's okay. We all experience things differently, but at the end of the day, I mean, I was not smart about it. And so, of course, then I think about how can I tell you about it and how can I help share. And I wasn't smart about it. And what I should have done was I should have taken a few minutes to think about what are the beliefs that are coming out, and what are the thoughts that I'm having, and what are the actions that I'm taking. How is it that I'm showing up for this? Because I was not showing up the way that I wanted to show up. I was showing up with all of these other things in the way. And that really comes from, we talk about our characters. Every time they take an action, it's always based on the things that they're thinking, or your action is always created by the things that you think, which is created by the things that you believe. And so for me, what is a much smarter thing to do, and what I had kind of forgotten to do, was to set the belief. And the big belief that I think is so important to set is whether or not you believe your big dream is possible. That is the number one belief, and you can control that. You can decide that you believe that being A-list author is something that is in your future. You can decide that you believe that. And then you can also adjust your thoughts. And for me, yesterday I was having a lot of thoughts about, again, about something that this beta reader had said. And what I should have done, because I wasn't even working on the same story, what I should have done was sort of shut down that thought and said, one of the beliefs that I like to use is I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how to share this the best way possible. I know exactly how to write this scene. And then showing up from there, showing up from that place. So at the end of the day, what I really wanted to share with you guys is what I think is the core of succeeding at this business or any other business. And it is having that big dream goal, but deciding, working with yourself to believe that it's possible. And I will tell you, it is not, it's a hard thing to believe, because we're told frequently, what are the common things? Authors don't make any money. It's nearly impossible to get publishing deals. It's nearly impossible to whatever. And you have to be the one that chooses. You believe something different. And you can do that in different ways. For me, I like a little bit of meditation. I close my eyes. I think through whatever it is that I need to think through, whatever it is that's bugging me, and I make a decision about the things that I believe. Journaling can be very effective. But at the end of the day, repeatedly reminding yourself of this new belief that you are choosing to hold, that your big dream is possible, is the most important thing. And typically that's a daily practice for me. That's a daily practice to show up and say, yes, I believe that it's possible. And when I do that, then I kind of automatically, I'm hitting the root of thoughts and actions, right? So when I do that, I'm kind of automatically adjusting the thoughts and therefore adjusting the actions. It makes it so much easier to show up. And this is what happened yesterday. Was the night before, I'd been thinking about something. Again, as beta reader said, another lesson here is don't let people get to you. But I'd been thinking about it, and I'd been mulling it over, and it had created some doubt. And from that doubt, I didn't correct it. I didn't correct it when I went to bed. And so when I woke up first thing in the morning, my brain was off in a unhelpful place. But repeatedly telling yourself what you believe, you can rewire that in your brain. You don't have to go through some big hero's journey to learn to believe it. But you can rewire that just through intention and just through repetition for yourself, and constantly sort of realigning yourself. And then, of course, you're always going to think about what are the little goals, what are the daily goals that are within your control. And often when you have a big dream, you already sort of know what it is that you need to do. And if you're unclear about what it is that you need to do in order to succeed as an author, I mean, it is simple. It's write books. It's learn to write good books, so that a person who reads one book wants to write the other book, or wants to read the other books. And then it's learning the marketing pieces and doing all of that, doing the social media stuff, the email marketing stuff, working with ARC readers, working with beta readers, working with all of the people to make your book really stand out, so that you're getting more readers. And then it's writing multiple books, doing that whole process multiple times, so that you've got a large catalog for people to read through, and therefore give you more money. Those are the things you need to do. You need to learn. You need to sit down and write. And then what you really need to get adept at doing is learning that there are things that you can control that don't necessarily feel like things that you can control. And again, that's the things you believe, the things that you think, and associated with that, the things that you feel. And then, of course, what we do know we can believe, or what we do know we can control, is our actions. And so when you're trying to adjust your beliefs or your thoughts, when you show up and you're having a bad writing day, it's okay to sit back, to close your eyes for a few minutes. And I like to get really clear. And this is the process I went through. I should have gone through yesterday morning, but I went through last night, in order to, show up this morning at 6 a.m. with a, go get them, go write them attitude, is saying, what are the things that I am thinking? What are the things that I do believe, that are not helping me? What are the things that are holding me back in this moment? And then how can I readjust them? That's the big question, is what is the new belief I want to hold? What are the new thoughts I want to hold? How do I want to feel about whatever situation this is that I'm walking into? And so I truly believe that that is the big secret. that's that's the big thing that people forget to talk about. That's the thing that I am really so passionate about, because it has been, a lesson that I've just sort of like repeatedly learned, and I find too, for me, the more emotionally connected I am to the big dream, the more that it feels important to, important to my soul, important to me on a deep level, the harder it is to separate yourself from those beliefs, from those thoughts, from the doubts that you have, and in order to rewrite them, in order to be able to show up and and write the way that you can, in order to write the way that you should, and in order to achieve the big dreams that are 100% possible for you.